I am not the dean of the college. We have leaders in the colleges. We have directors at the hospital. My job is to support them. In case there is a problem, I was always there to try to solve it for them.
Yeah.
I was a facilitator. You know, my job was a manager, administrator.
It's interesting what you're saying, because I headed a science research company as the managing director in 2001 in Brussels, out of all places. And I was the only non-scientist in the place, and I used to wear a suit, and they thought I was from outer space. Actually, for them I was. But it was interesting why they made the choice, because I didn't understand science the way they did. So I was able to make very objective decisions. I could step back and detach myself and be able to do that. So I can understand the business model that, working from you, that you ran it as a business, but you were sensitive enough to have the right quality of people sitting with you who are the experts. Okay. What's the business model? Do you charge lots and lots of money to, sick patients who go all the way to Ajman, or how are you doing it?
You can ask my team. I always believed we need to survive, we need money to grow.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not very ambitious to be ruthless and unethical to make money at all.
Okay.
I'm not interested in making money.
Can we get a mic here to the team, please?
Can I tell you a very interesting story?
Please, please. You're
I
stage.
went through some very difficult phase. People may not believe, because now everything looks good.
Yes.
3,000 people working, salaries paid on time, different brands. But I went through very tough times for about 2 years. And there was a phase when I couldn't pay salaries to my staff. I used to feel very guilty about it. That was my worst phase in my professional career.
Right.
So one time I went to one top official, without mentioning names, and I sat with him, and I was very depressed. So I told him, he asked me, Moideen, how are you? He saw my face was not very, I was not smiling, and he said, something wrong, is your family okay? Everything's okay. Is your business okay? I said, no, my business is not really okay. I said, why? I was better off with my timber business and real estate business. Here I am struggling. Then they asked me one question, which really changed my outlook.
Yeah.
He asked me, are you a good Muslim? I said, yes, I am definitely a good Muslim, improving every day. Do you realize what you are doing? And I thought to myself, is there something wrong I am doing? So this gentleman told me, as a Muslim, the best charity you can do in this country is spreading knowledge, giving shifa. You are doing both, and you are also making money out of it. So you are in the right track. Don't worry, Allah will never let you down.
Very good.
So I felt really good about it, that I am in the right track. I am doing the right thing. I am not a timber merchant. I am doing something which is valuable for the community. But once I went out of the room, I also realized this gentleman told me, Allah is with you. What he meant was, don't ask me any help.
Fair enough.
So I struggled on my own and survived.
There is a very big challenge in the MENA region, and that is, over the next 10 years, we need 100 million jobs. And I was doing a conference at Harvard last week, and we discussed this thing in great depth. And it came back again and again, was education. But education to go beyond and to make it more of a vocation, so that people can have jobs and can deliver that. Is that something that is there in the back of your mind, that when you, because you are training 1,000 doctors a year, is that enough? And how do you work the accelerator effect to give millions of jobs in this region and to really make an impact?
I told you my story is, I'm in this business by accident.
Yes.
It's not that I planned it.
Yes.
But now that we are there and we established ourselves, we are stable, we are in education, we are in healthcare.
Yes.
We created various other subsidiary businesses, like we have a chain of coffee shops, we have a chain of health clubs called Body and Soul. It's a brand on its own. We have a chain of pharmacies. We are building about 100 pharmacies. We have a chain of Nutrivita shops. We have a chain of optical shops. We have a trading division, all branded. Each one can be scaled up. Now we are thinking we should scale up our business at least 10 times more. And we are in a position. For example, the university, we get about 6,000 or 7,000 applications coming in, and we are not able to accommodate them. So we are thinking of going to a country from where the majority of the application is coming, like Africa. We are planning to go to Malaysia, build our own campuses there. Hospitals, it's become part of our business now.
Right.
We are having experts, we know how to manage a teaching hospital. We are building a network of hospitals. We are in the process. We are in that phase now, which will take us to a different level.
Okay.
All our businesses are growing very well, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, there are lots and lots of SMEs here. How are you supporting the SME sector, if at all?
I don't see how I support a SME.
I can see it. I mean, I'll tell you exactly how you support it, but I wanted to hear it from you.
How is that?
A lot of the suppliers to you, because an accelerator effect of a university, of a hospital, and all of those things can affect all the SMEs here. And I'm sure a lot of them. Is there anybody who's done business with them who's an SME? Not here. Okay. But you see what I'm saying is that I think the ongoing benefit, it ripples throughout an economy. And the economy, 85% is the SME sector. So they will almost certainly benefit from that. Let me just go to the audience, to your team here. Any comments from anybody, any members of the team about what is it like working for Mr. Moideen? Madam, would you like to say something? Please don't say something really, really nice.
When I first came to the university, of course...
Please tell us who you are, please. And yeah.
I'm Dr. Geeta Shokraj. I am by training a pathologist. I trained at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi. I joined the university as professor and head department of pathology.
Okay.
And I rose to become the dean of the medical college. And today I am the provost of the medical university.
Congratulations, well done.
In fact, I was purely an academician when I came and joined the university. And I was happy to teach and be available to the students. I love pathology. But as time went on and I rose to become the dean, and later on as I grew in the administrative position, I found there's another aspect to education. It's not just about teaching, but it's also important to run the institution and keep it viable.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of a sense came much later to me. And it's only by association with the president that I learned it, but I learned it on the job. I had no idea about it. Of course, I knew a lot about preparing budgets and budgeting for a department and things like this, but never knew beyond that, that you have to look at the big picture, stand outside the box, and then see how best we can grow.
And the culture of the environment was such that it enabled you to do all of that?
Yes. In fact, this country is very work-oriented in the sense that if you love your work, you enjoy it, and there are people to appreciate it.
Right.
And that makes you, or at least inspires you to do even better. We never look whether it's day or night. We just love the work we do, and we continue doing it. But we have a great leader. You must remember that.
Brilliant. Can I pass on to Akbar, who also is Mr. Moideen's son. And he's working in the hospital. Tell us about your story. Why didn't you go into the timber business? Why didn't you become a disc jockey? I don't know. I mean, why did you go into the medical space?
I think when I finished university, and I did my mechanical engineering, which is completely different to where I am right now.
Right.
So once I finished my mechanical engineering, I went to Dad and I said, I want to do something. So he said, well, I don't have any businesses which has mechanical engineering as part of it. So why don't you rotate across all the businesses and you see what you like, and then, we'll see. So I rotated across businesses for 6 months,
Okay.
and finally came into healthcare, and I really liked healthcare and then went on to do my master's in hospital management and came back. But what I want to say is that Dad didn't tell you about the challenges. I mean, the challenges was, as a kid growing up, I could just see what was happening. The hospital, there was a deadline that you have to have a hospital within the next 6 months or the college will be closed and the students will have to go back home.
Right.
So I knew the pressure at that point. So I tell my dad even now, Dad, I could have all the resources in the world. I have money. We have the people behind us. I could still not build a hospital within 6 months. Now, how did you do it?
How did he do it? No, but seriously, how did he do it?
And he did it.
But what was that secret sauce that your father has that made that difference? Seriously, it's a really, really important insight.
I ask him every single time, how did you do it? That 6 months changed the whole, everything changed in that 6 months. You know, there was a deadline. Don't build that hospital in 6 months. Your college gets closed and your students go back home.
Okay.
And he did it. I still can't do it. I mean, we have all the resources, we have everything, but we can't do that, what he did at that point of time.
Right.
Really, there were two reasons. One, we are very serious, committed people. So we stuck on, we said we will do it. So I think God was kind to us. Number two is my team. I had a fantastic team. They stood by me. I said, let us do it. The Ministry of Higher Education gave us a deadline, September, if you don't open your hospital, the medical school closes. So we jumped into a hospital project. Imagine we had absolutely no knowledge, brought in consultants from India, did the whole thing, became operational in 6 months' time. That was a great achievement. It's impossible to do it now.
And it's actually the key thing you have touched on is leadership, your leadership style. And also about focusing on a target and a vision and saying, this has to be done. And the number of times people tell me, many things that I have done, it's impossible, can't be done. The moment they say that, and I focus on mine, we end up achieving it. So congratulations, because I think that's true leadership.
But what I wanted to also say was that I feel that, you know, as someone who's getting into business, we need role models who we can look up to and we can say that let's try to do what they're trying to do. And that's the only way that, you know, most of us can learn and become what these legends, let us say, are.
Yeah. Let me ask a controversial question. And you mentioned another gentleman who has built schools. And that's Mr. Varkey, Sunny Varkey. And the general criticism is that it is a schooling machine. And they just churn it out. My two little nieces, they are in GEM schools, but they're just churning out schools. And it's just become a sausage factory. And it's all about money. And the schools look like hotels, very advanced and whatever, but they charge stupid amounts of money. And you're now saying that you're building all of these new schools and new hospitals because you know the formula. How are you different to Mr. Varkey?
I think we also focus on quality and any student coming, we have students from 72 countries now.
Okay.
We make it a point that they go back to their home country, they are accepted, they can practice there or do their post-graduation there. So we are more or less accepted around the world now.
Yeah.
So our university is accredited and recognized at the highest level wherever possible, WHO, FAMER and all that.
Yep.
Our hospitals are JSI accredited, so we are following good standards also.
The standards I accept. What I'm thinking of is it's becoming, are you creating a machine? Or are you actually reaching out there to give health and give education and build it? Because you now have the wonderful opportunity to do it and change the world.
In the university, we created a program called Care and Share, where we sponsor students.
Right.
So almost 25 to 30% of the students are sponsored by various organizations, government, ministries, consulates. Our dream is to see that at least 80% of the students are sponsored by other people. We do it as we have to survive. That means people pay for the merit students or economically weak students.
Yeah.
That's in the university. Apart from that, merit students get their discounts. Provost has powers to give discount and help them.
Okay.
In the hospitals, we also have a department called patient affair department. So no patient is sent back because of lack of money. That if it's a genuine patient, has no money, we take care. I think we are the only hospital in the country, and we are I can say the busiest hospital in the country. 30% of the babies born in this country is born in our hospitals.
Wow.
And it's affordable.
Excellent. So, obviously you're doing a lot of special things. You mentioned about your innovative ways of achieving this success. Could you give us a few ideas and a few insights of the innovations that you brought about, even though it was 10 years ago, conferences and so on, a few other things so that we can learn from that?
In terms of marketing, we have been very, very innovative.
Okay.
Like, we never went commercial, we never advertised in newspapers. We joined hands with Mayo Clinic, with these are top names internationally, with Harvard. We had conferences, we had workshops. So we were always in the news. So we did it indirectly and in a nice way, very dignified way. We were not commercial, we never advertised. No, we are doing it now because it's a very competitive world. But those days, we did it in a very, very nice way.
Right.
We had a series called GMC Harvard series.
Right.
So we used to have conferences in Ajman, Dubai, Sharjah, Fujairah. So we did all those, for marketing we did all those new interesting things. We had free camps, joined hands with various consulates, various countries.